This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. It is Friday, April the 27th, the preparation day. Tonight begins the final Sabbath before Passover week, which begins next week. And we are in the 4 days between Lamb Day and Passover, in which we are to remove all the leaven from our dwelling place and from where we are. I just got back from unleavening my car. I went to the local car wash and used the industrial vacuums there to get all the breadcrumbs that had accumulated over the year in my car, and so now my vehicle is completely unleavened. And now I'm trying to obey Exodus 12 by unleavening my entire dwelling place, my house, my apartment here, and getting ready for Passover next week. So I just want to let everyone know that I'm making this tutorial to kind of help people who really don't know a lot about unleavened bread or how to get the leaven out of their house. I think some people tend to make this more difficult than it needs to be. Remember Deuteronomy 30, starting in verses 10 and onward, it says, this law is not way up in the heavens that you should say, who will go up into the heavens for us and bring this law down to us that we may do it? And it's not way across the ocean that you should say, who will go across the ocean and bring this law to us so we can do it? But it's in your mind, it's in your heart that you may do it. His commandments are easy to do. They're not convoluted. They're not twisted and hard to figure out. He is letting us know in Deuteronomy 30 and in other scriptures that his commandments we are able to do them. And especially now with the Holy Spirit, which gives us an inward desire to obey him and his word, it makes it even easier. So this commandment of unleavening your house, it's not difficult. It's not hard to figure out. It can be quite a bit of work, depending on how much leaven is built up in your house, but it's not difficult to do in terms of how to get the leaven out. It's actually very simple. So I'm going to provide this tutorial in hopes of helping. Now, I've tried to record this a couple times, and my phone keeps wigging out on me, so hopefully I'll get it recorded this time. I've already sort of gone through my food stuff because I did that in my previous two videos. So, but I'm going to just kind of go over briefly what I've done so far. So I'm in my bedroom. I apologize for the lighting. It's not the best lighting in the bedroom, but I'm in the bedroom because I actually didn't have enough space for the food in the kitchen. So we actually have shelves in this bedroom where I've put overflow food. And there's the shelves of food. And I just kind of went through those. Like, for example, with crackers and chips, you always want to check those. Like, I had these salted caramel rice cake crackers that I checked. They're organic, and they actually do not have any leavening agent in there. When you're looking at the ingredients, you want to look for things that say leavening agent. Sometimes it'll say that. It'll also say yeast or yeast extract. Might say potassium bicarbonate, or baking soda or baking powder, which are always used as leavening agents within foods. So if you see anything like that, you want to get rid of those foods. So a lot of these foods on here are mustards and soups and vegetables and popcorn and peanut butter and rices and things. A lot of those things are not going to have leaven in them. Leaven is generally in broths or soups or crackers and chips, or in breads, of course. I've made a pile here that you can see of the leaven products. I found out that the saltine crackers, they all have yeast in them, so you got to get rid of that. And I have some hamburger helper here. Actually, I shouldn't have had this because it has a lot of bad ingredients in it, but that has leavening. This is some graham cracker crust for pies as leavening. This was some bread, some hamburger rolls and hot dog rolls that I had on top of the refrigerator, and some bread that I had that I got to get rid of, some challah that's left over. A lot of your buttermilk cake mixes, those are going to have leaven. And then, of course, breadcrumbs. These, got to get rid of those. Saltines, hamburger helpers. Hamburger helpers always tend to have leavening agents in them, so you want to get rid of those. So that's kind of a pile I've made there. And then if you move into the kitchen, so in your refrigerator, you know, it just kind of depends on what you have. Most things probably are not going to have leavening in your freezer, because I mean, I just like keep meats and things in here, and fish, which obviously is not going to have leavening agents. If you look at your ice creams, they're not going to have any leaven in it. Most won't. Shouldn't anyway, unless you have like cookie dough or something. Cookie dough ice cream, which you want to get rid of. Tortillas, you want to check. Some tortillas do have leaven in them, but like these are organic corn tortillas to make little sliders, and those have no leaven in them. So you want to check your tortillas and make sure. In your refrigerator, you know, again, I've kind of gone through all this already. I don't really have any leavening agents in things. I don't think there's any leaven in the ranch. No. Most condiments, ketchups, mustards, things like that, you're not going to have any leaven in them. You know, you want to check and just make sure on things, but like I said, most things are not going to have any leaven in them. I did check this barbecue sauce. There's no leaven in there. Mayonnaise and things like that, I don't think you're going to have any leaven. And, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and I still have to kind of check, but no, there's no leaven in there. So, yeah, most condiments, things like that, you're not going to have leaven. Bacon, I have some turkey bacon, no leaven in there. And then, of course, your fruits and vegetables, you're not going to have any leaven in there. I did have these wraps to make, like, wontons and things, and I actually checked that. No leaven in those. I was kind of surprised. I figured those would have leaven, but they don't. So, anyway, that was pretty easy. Of course, your spices, you're not going to really have any leaven in here. As I mentioned earlier, if you see baking soda or baking powder in the ingredients, those are used as leavening agents within food, so you'll want to get rid of those food products. However, if you have baking soda or baking powder in and of themselves, you don't have to get rid of those. Those are not leavening agents in and of themselves unless they're used to bake and cook. For instance, I have some baking powder, baking soda, excuse me, mixed with sea salt to brush my teeth. I don't have to get rid of that because that's not being used for leaven. So it's just things that's being used for leaven. There's some sugars and things like that. With your soups and things, you do have to be careful. A lot of soups don't have leaven in them. However, as I hunted through all of these things, I actually came across a chicken broth which does have yeast extract in it. And I plan to actually have this chicken broth with some matzo ball soup before Passover. So if you're gonna make matzo ball soup, which is a popular dish for Passover, make sure you get chicken broth that does not have yeast extract in them, because a lot of chicken broths do, so you gotta be careful on that. I gotta clean out this shelf right here, but this was filled with a bunch of cereals. And so I actually checked through all these cereals just to make sure there was no leaven. Now the cereals I happen to have, Cheerios, Honey Bunches of Oats, things like that, they do not have any leavening products in them. Your oatmeals, things like that, don't really have any leavening products. However, I came across a bunch more saltine crackers. These are actually a different brand, but they still had leaven in them. And then also any of your Bisquics and pancake mixes, those are gonna have leavening in them. So you wanna get rid of that. I had these stovetop stuffing and panko breadcrumbs. That has obviously leaven. And then here's some more stuffing mix that has leaven in them. And then you also want to check mixes. Like, I was surprised I found this fish taco mix, this turkey gravy mix, and it's organic. But believe it or not, as I was reading through the ingredients, see if I can find it here. Oh, I thought it had. Let me check here. One of these had. Well, that's. I thought one of these had leavening in them, but maybe not. Let's see. Organic cornstarch, cane sugar. Oh yeah, organic yeast right there. Yeah, so in this turkey gravy mix, even though it's organic, it has yeast in it. And then the same brand for this fish taco mix, this does not have any yeast in it. So there it just goes to show you got to check everything.